Using a tool is always tricky, even if it's part of your own body. It's essential either to be intelligent or to have a genetic code of instructions that says how, and of course, also when it should be used.
In this piece, we're analyzing how animals utilize tools, for various things: housing, luring prey, devouring prey, and protection, and how all these behaviors are instinctual. I enjoyed seeing the wide variety of animals that are featured. And it really called to question about animals' intelligence. And it was constantly analyzing, are these actions that these animals take, are they ones that these animals understand fully? Is this something that just instinctually they feel that they should be doing? Is this, derived of a consistent practice? Um, it really left me wondering. But to see the wide range of species and all having this in common really just makes you think how wonderfully complex this world is. And so that brought that to light for me. And I loved obviously getting all the footage of the animals and just seeing them in elements in ways that we wouldn't be able to see.
Documentary. I thought it had a really interesting approach to how you quantify intelligence across species, and I thought that the metric of the ability to use a tool I thought was quite effective. It both establishes sort of an abstract reasoning capability, and also shows sort of how genetic knowledge is passed down to species that don't even appear to have a concept of abstract reasoning or even the brain function to do that at that level. They're still operating with a level of intelligence that is designed to preserve their life. So I thought it was quite fascinating, especially the scales of which you're watching insects to birds to chimpanzees, I believe, and sort of the obvious implications that human evolution is almost exclusively tied to their ability to create tools and function as use their abstract reasoning to create different objects out of what they have in their surroundings, which is what explains our ability to tame nature, even though within nature we are ill-equipped to navigate it. Our intelligence is what changed the difference there, and I thought that the piece had a really great sort of educational and historical reflection of how that came to be with a variety of examples. So it worked well as both a nature documentary in the classic sense, in terms of educational, but I thought also in terms of just a fascinating imagery and stark imagery of the settings were quite effective as well, pulling you into the piece.
Just seeing how all these animals evolved to use tools in so many different ways, but so akin to how humans use tools. I thought that was amazing, just to see their brains work and just the evolution behind it all and the biological reasons for how they developed these tools or developed the ability to use these tools. I thought that was incredible. I loved the narration, super easy to follow and fun to listen to. I thought my immediate thought with this documentary was that it would be so, so cool to see on a big, huge screen. Just the footage was amazing, the drone shots, and all of the incredible, intricate footage of these animals using the tools that they evolved for so many years to be able to use. I loved that we saw all animals from fish to birds to primates, how it has evolved in all of these animals across all of these countries and environments. I thought that was really interesting to see. I also loved that we had a slight personification of the animals. If not, it wasn't obviously a Disney personification, but I liked how we sort of got into their heads as well, and our narration sort of walked us through what they are feeling as they are, in their environment using their tools.
Cinematography in this was just gorgeous. I mean, the way that they captured all of the different animals and stuff like that, color balanced, it was beautiful across the board. They did such an incredible, incredible job. Voiceover was great too. I loved the pacing. I loved the inflection. It was just perfect. It was so fun and educational and just wild to learn more about each individual animal and insect to see what kind of tools they use in their environment to reach their objective. And that was just fascinating.
We dive into their instinctive behavior from what we perceive as gene programming, due to our own biases towards what intelligence means and how it reflects in animal interactions and survival modes. They constantly talk about intelligence versus instinct, and it's just how humans try to identify or understand, where we always think we are the bigger species, the most advanced species. We somehow need to identify how this knowledge between species and within generations is passed on through evolution and understanding the chain. It was beautiful. All shots are very relevant. The explainings are just so easy to understand.
I think that a lot of times people kind of get stuck in these preconceived ideas of what animals are like, especially wildlife, because that's the one category of animal that we have the least amount of, like everyday interaction with, or the least amount of understanding. Because I feel like with obviously domesticated animals, lots of people have pets, and you don't have pets, I feel like it's a very common thing to talk about with your friends, to see in movies, to experience in some kind of way. And then the same kind of goes for, I feel like, for work animals, just because, again, there's a lot more exposure there. But what, like, straight up wildlife, again, has the least amount of true interaction and the least amount of, I think, understanding, which is why I think that this is so interesting, because it helps take away that kind of mystery almost with wildlife, and you really do get to learn about how inventive they are and how, intuitive they are, and this is just something through generations and hundreds of years that the animals have either learned to do, or it's a part of their, basic function if they're using like a part of their body to gather more information or as a tool. And I just found it really, really fascinating to learn about.